Liam was just your average 13-year-old boy. He lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood with his parents and younger sister. He played video games, went to school, and complained about homework. But there was one thing about Liam that no one knew, not even his family. Every night, at exactly 3 a.m., something strange happened. Liam would sit up in bed, his eyes still closed, and silently walk out of the house. The front door never made a sound. His parents assumed he was asleep all night long. But Liam was being pulled by something no one could explain. It started 3 weeks ago, after Liam found a strange object buried behind the old shed. It was a small black stone, warm to the touch, etched with symbols he couldn't read. That night was the first time he disappeared. And every night since, he returned just before sunrise, with no memory of where he had been. The next morning, Liam woke up in his bed like nothing had happened. He rubbed his eyes, confused by the dirt under his fingernails and the faint ache in his legs, like he had walked for miles. His mother called him down for breakfast, and he didn't mention the black stone. Something deep inside told him not to. At school, Liam was distracted. During math class, he stared out the window, trying to recall anything about the previous night. Every time he focused, his head started to hurt, like something was blocking the memories. When he got home, he went straight to the backyard and dug through the dirt near the shed. The stone was gone. That night, Liam stayed up, determined to see what was happening. He placed a camera facing his bed. He even told his sister to check on him in the morning if anything seemed strange. At exactly 2:59 a.m., he fell asleep. The footage the next day was terrifying. At 3 a.m. sharp, Liam sat up. His eyes were wide open, but he didn't blink. He swung his legs over the side of the bed and stood up. Then he walked out of the room. The camera caught a shadow crossing the hallway after he left. A tall, lanky shape that didn't belong to anyone in the house. Liam showed the footage to his best friend, Noah, who immediately believed him. "This is insane," Noah said. "You've been sleepwalking or possessed or something." Liam was scared, but also curious. Where was he going? Why didn't he remember anything? The boys decided to try something risky. They would hide a small GPS tracker in Liam's shoe, one that Noah could monitor from his phone. That way, if Liam left again, Noah could follow. That night, Liam went to sleep wearing the tracker. At exactly 3 a.m., he disappeared again. Noah, hiding in his car nearby, received the signal and began to follow. The tracker led him out of the neighborhood and down a long, winding road that led into the forest. There were no street lights, just the moon and the noise of crickets. Noah parked his car at the edge of the woods and continued on foot, flashlight in hand. He followed the signal deeper into the forest until he reached an old, overgrown path. The GPS that on his phone stopped moving. Noah froze. There, in a small clearing, he saw Liam standing completely still. In front of him stood a group of people in black robes. They were holding hands in a circle, chanting something low and rhythmic. In the middle of the circle, on a stone altar, was the black stone Liam had found. Noah crouched behind a tree, watching in disbelief. Liam's eyes were still open, but he wasn't reacting. One of the robed figures approached Liam and placed a hand on his forehead. Liam collapsed to the ground. Noah wanted to run to him, but fear held him in place. The ritual continued for a few more minutes before the group disbanded and disappeared into the woods, taking the stone with them. Once they were gone, Noah rushed to Liam. He was unconscious but breathing. Noah shook him awake, and Liam gasped, looking around wildly. "What happened?" Liam asked, confused and terrified. "I don't know," Noah said, "but we need to get out of here. Now." They ran all the way back to the car and drove home in silence. Liam couldn't remember anything past falling asleep, but he felt different, like something had been awakened inside him. The next day, Liam's eyes looked strange, like they were darker, deeper, almost glowing in the right light. He was quieter than usual, more focused. At school, he scored perfectly on a math test he hadn't studied for. During gym, he outran everyone, even the track team captain. It was like his body was no longer his own. Noah noticed it too. "Dude, you're acting weird," he said. Liam shrugged. "I feel smarter, stronger." But he wasn't happy about it. At night, he had dreams vivid and terrifying of places he'd never seen. Underground cities, giant creatures, strange symbols floating in the air. And then there were the whispers. He started hearing them when he was alone. Soft voices calling his name, telling him things he didn't want to hear, telling him he belonged to them now. He tried to resist. He tried to stay awake past 3 a.m., but every night, without fail, he would fall asleep seconds before the hour. And then he'd wake up in his bed with more dirt on his feet, more questions, more fear. One night, Liam decided to write a note to himself and place it under his pillow. It read, "Where do you go? What do you see?" The next morning, the note was gone. In its place was a different one, written in handwriting that wasn't his. It said, "We are teaching you. Soon, you will remember." Liam stared at the note for minutes, unable to move. The words "soon, you will remember" echoed in his mind like a warning or a promise. He crumpled the paper and shoved it into his backpack. That day, he didn't speak to anyone. He barely ate. His thoughts spiraled. No one noticed immediately. Did something happen again? Liam nodded slowly and told him about the note. Noah's face went pale. "Dude, this is messed up. You need help. Like real help." But Liam didn't want to involve adults. What would they say? That he was sleepwalking? That he needed therapy? They wouldn't believe the videos or the voices or the glowing stone. That night, Liam recorded himself again. But this time, he set up 2 cameras, one in his room and one facing the front door. He fell asleep, and, as expected, the footage the next morning was horrifying. At 2:59 a.m., Liam began to twitch in his sleep. At 3 a.m. exactly, his eyes opened. He whispered something in a language the camera's microphone barely picked up. Then he rose and walked to the front door. But this time, the door didn't open by itself. Instead, the air shimmered. A faint circle of glowing symbols appeared in front of Liam. He stepped through it and vanished. No door, no sound, just gone. The front door camera caught nothing but an empty hallway. But at 3:47 a.m., Liam reappeared in his room, standing motionless before climbing back into bed. When he watched the footage, he felt sick. What was that portal? Where did he go? The next night, Noah slept over. He brought a GoPro strapped to his chest and vowed to stay awake, even if Liam couldn't. They made a plan: if Liam started moving, Noah would follow. At 3 a.m., Liam sat up. His eyes glowed faintly in the dark. Noah whispered, "Liam," but got no response. Liam stood, walked to the center of the room, and the air shimmered again. A circle of symbols formed. Noah's breath caught in his throat. Liam stepped through, and Noah followed a split second later. Everything went black. When Noah opened his eyes, he was standing in a cavern. The walls pulsed with light, like they were alive. In front of him, Liam stood completely still, surrounded by the robed figures. But now, Liam was speaking the strange language fluently. Noah hid behind a jagged rock, heart racing. He listened as Liam repeated words the figures chanted. Then one of them pointed to a large door carved into the stone wall. It opened, revealing a spiral staircase glowing with blue light. The leader turned to Liam and said in English, "You are ready to begin." Noah's phone began to vibrate, an alarm he had set for safety. The noise echoed through the chamber like thunder. The robed figures turned instantly. "Someone is here," the leader hissed. Noah bolted. He ran back through the darkness, searching for the portal, but there was nothing. No simbes, no chimir. Behind him, footsteps. Many. Fast. He tripped, hit the ground, and rolled over, flashlight shaking in his hand. But no one was there. Just silence. Then, the whisper, "You weren't invited." Noah screamed and woke up in Liam's bed, drenched in sweat. Liam was sitting beside him, eyes wide. "What did you see?" Noah gasped. "Everything. We have to stop this." Liam shook his head slowly. "I think it's too late." Over the next few days, Liam changed. His voice deepened slightly. He stopped blinking as often. He began to draw symbols in his notebook, ones he didn't remember writing. He could understand languages he'd never studied. He began to predict things what teachers would say, where people had lost things, what questions would be on tests. And he stopped sleeping normally. He would lie in bed and whisper to himself in that strange language for hours. His sister noticed. "Mom," she said one morning, "Liam's eyes are scary now. Like they're not his." His mother dismissed it. "He's just growing up." But something was very wrong. One evening, Liam asked Noah to meet him behind the shed where he found the stone. When Noah arrived, Liam was digging again. "I think there's more," Liam said. They uncovered something massive, an old box, carved from obsidian, locked with metal bands. On top of it was an inscription, "The memory within." Liam touched it and screamed. He fell backward, clutching his head, eyes rolling back. Noah rushed to him, trying to pry his hand away. But Liam just kept screaming. And then he stopped. He looked up at Noah, calm and cold. "I remember now," he said. Noah stepped back. "Remember what?" Liam stood, slowly. "Where I go. Who I am. What they want." Noah whispered, "And what is that?" Liam looked at him with eyes that weren't entirely human anymore. "To wake the sleeper beneath." Liam's words hung heavy in the night air. The sleeper beneath. Neither Noah nor Liam fully understood what that meant, but both felt its weight pressing down on them. That evening, they returned to Liam's room in silence. The air felt colder and the shadows longer. The next day at school, Liam was distant. He barely answered questions and stared through windows as if seeing another world. Noah tried to talk to him, but found only walls. Then, strange things started happening. Objects moved on their own. Whispering voices echoed in empty hallways. Liam's notebooks filled overnight with unfamiliar symbols and drawings of ancient creatures. One afternoon, Noah showed Liam a picture from the internet, a massive stone structure deep in a forest called the Sleeping Altar. The image sent a chill down Liam's spine. "That's it," Liam whispered. "That's where I go. The portal opens there." Determined to uncover the truth, the boys planned a trip to find the altar. They researched old maps, legends, and local myths. Everyone spoke of the forest as haunted, cursed, or dangerous. But Liam felt a pull he couldn't resist. On a cold morning, they slipped out of their homes and headed toward the forest's edge. The trees towered, casting eerie shadows that seemed to watch their every step. Liam's heart pounded as they followed the trail marked on the old map. After hours of walking, the forest opened into a clearing. There it stood, the Sleeping Altar. Huge stone slabs formed a circle around a massive carved figure lying on its back, eyes closed, hands folded over its chest. The air buzzed with an energy that made the hair on their arms stand up. Liam approached slowly. "This is where it all begins," he said. He reached out, touching the stone figure's cold face. Suddenly, the ground trembled and the sky darkened. A low hum filled the air. The altar began to glow faintly. Noah grabbed Liam's arm. "We should leave." But Liam was entranced. He began chanting the strange language again. The symbols on his hands pulsed with light, matching the glow from the altar. The stone figure's eyes snapped open, glowing blue like Liam's. A voice echoed around them, ancient and powerful. "Awaken, child of the night. Your time is near." Noah pulled Liam back as the ground cracked, and the figure rose, towering over them. The air was thick with magic and danger. "Run!" Liam shouted. They sprinted back through the forest as the altar collapsed behind them in a cloud of dust and light. Back in town, Liam collapsed, exhausted and terrified. "It's real," he whispered. "The sleeper is waking." Days passed, and strange occurrences multiplied. People reported missing time, eerie lights, and whispers carried on the wind. Liam's eyes glowed brighter, his voice deeper, his presence more commanding. Noah feared for his friend and the town. He knew this was only the beginning. Weeks passed, and the strange occurrences grew more intense. Liam's eyes glowed brighter, and his voice carried a power no human should have. The town was gripped by fear. Lights flickered, shadows moved on their own, and whispers filled the night air. Noah stayed close, but even he couldn't fully understand what Liam was becoming. One cold night, Liam woke Noah, his expression urgent and serious. "They're awakening," he said quietly. "The ones beneath us. The sleeper stirs, and soon everything will change." Outside, the wind howled and distant tremors shook the ground. The air felt charged with something ancient and unstoppable. Noah looked into Liam's glowing eyes and knew that nothing would ever be the same. But what happened next? What is the fate that awaits them in their town? That story is not yet ready to be told. If this video gets 75 likes, I'll post the next part of Liam's story. So hit that like button and don't miss what happens next.